Movies, stories are shaping society. They're shaping the way we see the world, and they're also giving us some desire to build the world we see on screen from time to time. There were numerous of movies who were showing, and that's pretty much the same thing with all the thing we have right now. I mean, smartphones and IA, it's been in movies first. So movies, stories are shaping society. They're shaping the way we see the world, and they're also giving us some desire to build the world we see on screen from time to time. So if we have absolutely no movie showing how we could, get out of this mess. I mean, what a world where, what a sustainable world would look like. We don't know that. We don't have any movie showing that. How are we going to overcome the power of these new fascist people who are just saying that climate change is a hoax? We need to tell those stories. We need to tell the stories where we win, and we also need to imagine what the world we would like to live in would look like. So we started with a documentary with Mélanie Laurent. We did that documentary called Tomorrow in 2015, and it's a documentary. So we were just thinking that nobody would care at all. And it's been a huge surprise because we had more than 1 million people who went to see it on the cinema in France. It's been released in 30 countries. Millions and millions of people saw it. And I still meet every day some people who tell me, oh, this movie just changed my life because it gave me the energy to change my job, to choose the school I wanted to go in. The mayor of Paris just create the whole biking policy inspired by Tomorrow, by the example of Copenhagen that was in Tomorrow. We have more than 500 companies who just shaped entirely their industry because they saw a French company doing that in the movie, and they went to see it, and now this company is training them to change it. And I just couldn't help to see that it's working. I mean, when you have a good narrative, when people identify to these people who are trying to change the world, it works. So to me, we need, thousands and thousands of them. I mean, the Americans just spread the American way of life after World War II through cinemas, through series, through advertising. So now we need to create some kind of ecological way of life. So if we want to do it, we need a lot of movies, of series, telling those stories.
Lydia, when you talk to institutions, to policymakers, do you feel that they understand the emergency of investing this field of storytelling, of narratives?
Yeah, well, I'm just going to back up just a bit there to say that the group that I'm working with is part of the UNFCCC, so it's the UN organization that has formed an international treaty to bring world cooperation together around climate change. And I'm sure you all follow the Conference of Parties that happen annually. In November, we'll be having the COP30 in Belém, Brazil, which is amazing that Brazil is the country of honor this year, and the whole delegation of culture and filmmakers are here. And I'm an international filmmaker, so I'm very happy to have been selected to this committee to work with film and television around culture, because I find that culture often gets siloed, to your question of talking to policymakers and institutions. The UN itself is very aware of the power of culture, and they will say to us that a movie like Hotel Rwanda or Blood Diamond or it affects hearts and minds in ways that no amount of pamphleting speaking and having conferences and things does. And I think that that emotional connection is important. And I just want to say that I did a workshop in January around solar punk, and we screen tomorrow.
Great.
Yeah, it's an amazing film. 10 years later, you're really still inspiring quite a bit, and it was very useful for us. I think one of the things that I like about working with the UN in this way is that they really believe, and I almost fell over when they said it, we really believe in radical collaboration. I was like, oh, yeah, could you go out and speak about radical collaboration? And I was absolutely, because I teach storytelling arts at the Climate School at Columbia in New York. And one of the things that I realized when I started teaching was that the climate students were all thinking in systems. And in Hollywood and a lot of the popular cultural filmmaking where we're trying to have influence was superficial. And I think what we know, and we know this from research, that stories that are about individuals making individual choices are important, as Emma was talking about in the panel before. But when you take those stories and put them in the context of a structural environment, and you're talking about the system that the choices the individual is making, habits, there's something else that happens in terms of fostering empathy, in terms of shifting attitudes away from individual responsibility, which is what the fossil fuel companies would like to have us feel, and really thinking more about, well, who is responsible for creating the system where we're forced to live and make these kinds of choices? And then you go from there to policy. So I think the work that we're doing now with Entertainment and Culture for Climate Action is to really work with the ministers of the environment who are connected to their governments. But we want to start with the filmmakers. We're interested in the Global South filmmakers who have the most urgent needs in terms of climate precarity. Their voices need to be heard. Their voices need to be lifted up to an international level.